In today's video, we see a person transforming a shipping container into a fully functional home that can replace a traditional house. Homes made from shipping containers have become very popular in recent years because they are more cost-effective and also environmentally friendly. Building a house of this type goes through several stages, and each stage contributes to making the house cheaper and more beautiful, while at the same time protecting the environment and giving you peace of mind. Before we start our video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to join Craft Wilder DIY. Now let's take a look at the stages this project goes through. He had already selected a location from the beginning and transported the container there on a truck. He started placing it in position and brought 2 cranes to set it exactly in the spot he had prepared. He began opening it and removing the bolts that were holding the metal skin of the door. He brought a ladder and climbed up to remove the upper metal sheet, and he successfully removed it. There were bolts on the door itself which he removed, and he also removed the bolts from the upper section. He then started removing the sheet material that was fixed to it. He brought metal primer and began applying it to the areas affected by rust and corrosion. He finished both doors with the metal primer. After that, he brought foam material to fill the gaps, as you can see now, and he started sanding that area and stripping it. The foam he applied inside the gaps began to expand, so he removed the excess foam and adjusted it properly. He started sanding the areas he wanted on the door, then applied metal primer over the material he had added. He sanded the door again and returned to sanding and adjusting the inside of the door around the hinges using a drill. He then brought the metal primer and painted the entire door with it, as well as the second door. After that, he reinstalled the metal skin of the second door that he had removed earlier, adjusted it in place, tightened the bolts, fixed everything properly, and reinstalled the locks, tightening them securely. He used silicone sealant to fill the gaps and prevent any leakage. After that, he climbed on top of the container and began removing the old paint. He brought a drill and started sanding and removing rust from the metal. He brought fiberglass and placed it over the areas with holes caused by rust or corrosion. He then brought fiberglass putty and started applying it over those areas. After finishing the roof, he removed and swept away the dust. He then brought a rust converter and began applying it to the areas that were rusty and damaged. He brought a metal piece and placed it on the edge, started taking measurements, and used a drill to level the areas and sand them. He brought the metal piece back again and started welding it section by section until it was completed. He cut part of it at a 45-degree angle and did the same on the other side so he could weld them together. He repeated this process on the other side and then applied silicone again to prevent leakage. He brought another metal piece to complete the supports, then brought metal primer and painted the roof with it. He started bringing metal angles to fix wood onto the metal structure and installed them next to each other. He brought thick wood to create supports for the roof floor and fixed them into these brackets using screws. He used a rope and pulled it tightly to measure the spacing and level them, then continued fixing the screws until he finished all of them. After finishing that, he started bringing another set of wood to create a frame for them. He fixed this wood to the main structure from the sides only and secured it with screws from all directions. He then prepared smaller pieces of wood to place between the main wooden beams. He began installing them between each beam and the next and fixed them using a drill. Because the measurements were very precise, the pieces fit easily into place. He then went inside the container and brought a metal bar to take measurements for creating openings for the windows and doors. He started cutting these sections from the container, and he actually cut several parts of the container. After that, he took measurements for small sections from the upper side on one side and from the lower side on the other side to create openings for electrical wiring entry. After cutting, he began sanding these edges so they would not be sharp. He brought a work table that he had made from wooden pallets. He brought metal pieces, took measurements, and started cutting the metal according to the window dimensions. He welded the metal pieces together to create a window frame. He placed the frame into the window opening and made 3 additional units. He then sanded the edges again, brought the metal frames he had made, placed them in position, and welded them. He started cutting the door opening, took the measurements, sanded the edges, and then brought the metal pieces he had prepared and welded them from the inside as structural supports. He went outside, brought a ladder, climbed up to the side of the container and began sanding and removing the rust from the surface. He brought metal primer and painted the rusty areas. He went to the other side and repeated the same process. After that, he brought foam to fill the metal gaps and left it to dry. He applied the same foam on the other side as well. Then he began leveling and adjusting the foam on both sides. He brought an additional insulating material to better protect the foam so there would be no water buildup or leakage, and he applied it over the foam. He then applied metal primer to the entire exterior of the container. In the next step, he brought metal and took measurements to prepare the door. He brought wood and started cutting it according to the measurements. He brought the prepared metal and placed the wood on it to make sure the measurements were correct. He took the wood and started making holes for the screws. He brought polyurethane varnish and applied it to all the wood. He also painted the metal with a black insulating coating. He then brought all the wood and fixed it to the metal door frame using screws. He brought a ladder, went to the side of the container, climbed up to the door opening he had created and brought a metal piece to take measurements. He went down, cut metal pieces and drilled holes in the center of them. He prepared 4 of these units and went back up to install them above the door opening. He brought a long metal bar to hang the sliding door and installed it onto these supports so it would serve as the rail that the 2 sliding door panels would hang from. He installed the sliding door panels onto the rail and made sure they moved smoothly. He then created an opening in the metal door panel so he could install the door lock. In the next step, he started removing the container's floor. He sanded and polished the floor beams after removing the wooden panels. After that, he painted the floor with 1 coat of metal primer. He then brought wooden boards and started cutting them according to the floor measurements. He placed them between each beam and the next and fixed them using a hammer. At the end of the floor, he added some metal pieces to close the gaps, applied foam as well, and started filling the floor to seal all the gaps. He brought fiberglass insulation and began cutting it according to the floor size. He placed it between each beam in the gaps. He then brought wooden boards and cut them into 2 sections to create the floor surface. He completed the entire floor, applied wood varnish, flipped the boards after finishing one side, and then started fixing them with screws. He secured all of them properly and finally applied another coat of wood varnish. He brought foam again to fill gaps and applied it around the door edges and corners to seal them properly. He then created an opening in the floor to install pipes, took the measurements, adjusted them, and installed the pipes. He placed black plastic sheeting on the floor, adjusted it around the 2 pipes, and started sealing it along the edges. He brought cement and bricks and started placing them next to each other, placing a brick on top and checking if everything was level using a metal bar. Using cement, he filled all the gaps between each brick, creating a line of cement on the right and left sides and filled the middle area with cement, leveling it very well. He then brought plastic sheeting and placed it in the second half of the container that had not yet been worked on. He applied cement along the side and around the pipe. He cut the thin pipe and connected it to another smaller pipe with a different direction. He covered it with soil until it was no longer visible, then applied cement in the center and leveled everything together. He mixed cement with water and poured it onto the floor, covering the entire middle section. He then sanded and leveled it perfectly until it was fully finished. After finishing the cement floor, he brought solar panels, which he chose for renewable energy. These panels allow energy to flow freely and never stop. He installed the wiring connections and brought storage batteries, placing them outside. He then brought galvanized profiles for the gypsum board and installed them along the edges of the container's floor on the side. He connected the drill and made several holes, then fixed these metal profiles to the floor with screws. He also installed similar profiles in front of the main container door. He brought another set of galvanized profiles and fixed them to the windows, creating a base for the gypsum board. He installed profiles all over the container to form a foundation for walls, windows, and ceiling. He also installed profiles around the container door and in the middle to divide the rooms. He then prepared electrical wiring, running it along the ceiling between the metal structures, and connected it throughout the container. From the outside, he created an opening for the electrical box and ran several wires from it. He applied silicone to insulate the wires inside the opening. He installed the window into the prepared opening and installed several additional windows into other openings. He brought more galvanized profiles to cover the areas on the ceiling that did not yet have any. He prepared plastic window trims, cut them to size, and installed them on the exterior edges of the windows. He brought a water tank, cleaned its faucet, and installed new piping connections to connect to the container. He created an opening in the container and inserted a pipe. Inside the container, he installed plumbing pipes, creating another opening and inserting a second pipe. He connected the pipes to the motor and completed all the remaining connections. Outside, he installed a faucet and tested it. It worked perfectly. He brought 3 pieces of metal to create supports for a water heater and built a protective cover for the heater. He installed the water heater and connected it to the pipes. He returned to the floor insulation and placed fiberglass between the metal supports. He applied spray foam to insulate the container walls, filling all sides, leveling and adjusting the foam. He then brought gypsum boards and installed them over the galvanized profiles, essentially creating interior walls. He fixed all boards with screws and started working on window edges, ensuring they matched the window dimensions, and fastened them. He prepared electrical wiring for lighting, leaving circular openings for light fixtures and openings in the walls for switches. He also prepared openings for water drainage pipes and installed sections of plumbing, placing tiles on the drainage paths and testing the water flow. He cut wooden supports and installed them on the walls, fixing them with clamps to ensure level surfaces. After finishing, he removed the clamps and cleaned the wood. He installed long trim pieces on the edges to protect the wood and enhance the appearance. He prepared the shower mixer and installed it in the bathroom, adjusted it, and tested it. He secured the water heater again with a new metal cover, ensuring it was fully protected. He installed tiles in the bathroom floor and fixed them properly. After finishing, he applied moisture-resistant paint. He brought a metal trapezoid frame, prepared wood, coated it with protective paint, and installed it on the frame to support the faucet. He installed the sink mirror and secured all with screws. He applied silicone under the sink to seal gaps, adjusted all water connections, and completed the bathroom installation. He went on top of the container, applied a waterproof sheet to the roof, and installed a white cloth layer. He brought many bricks and leveled them, placing solar panels on top. He disassembled wooden pallets, sanded them, and brought them inside. He installed wooden beams as a base and fixed the pallet wood over them. He ran electrical wires and finished securing everything. He closed the windows from the inside and installed wooden channels to hold LED strips. He adjusted electrical connections, and the lighting worked perfectly. He brought long LED strips and installed them on the ceiling. He painted all gypsum boards white. He assembled a metal frame under the door to create stairs and installed wooden boards for the steps, coating them with protective paint. He dug a long trench and placed bricks around it to create a small garden, adding soil and leveling it. In the bathroom, he installed a metal channel for the shower glass and secured the glass. He installed a shelf near the sink, polished wood, and fixed it. This completed the bathroom. He went outside to adjust the floor, brought parquet boards, measured and installed them properly. He reused wood from old pallets, sanded and polished it, installed a channel for the sliding door above, and applied a glossy varnish. He created a track for the sliding door, installed the door, and tested the opening and closing. He marked the walls with measuring tape, applied paint filler on all walls, and sanded them. He disassembled old pallets, created holes for screws, installed hinges inside, tested the locks, and finished the bed installation. He brought galvanized profiles to create a frame for the sink, installed a kitchen sink in it, measured, cut, and installed gypsum board panels around it. He made openings for the stove and installed it, made another opening for the sink, and installed the faucet. He installed supports for shelves and fixed the shelves. He created wooden channels for drawers, installed them, sanded, polished, and cleaned them. He installed door hinges to ensure smooth opening and closing. He brought decorative wood, installed it on walls, and secured it, achieving a visually stunning result. He installed 3 decorative shelves beside the wood and placed a YouTube play button among them. He closed the bottom of the container using pallets. He installed a metal frame and added wood on top to create a table. He cut an opening in the ceiling and fixed a chandelier. He placed a carpet and a sofa, completing the living room setup. He went on the roof, installed wooden posts, added wires, coated the floor with insulating material, and installed metal supports. He secured them properly and added chairs and tables. He installed wood along the posts to create a beautiful railing, coated with protective paint, and made a sitting area. The container house was fully completed beautifully. Tell us in the comments if you'd like to see another container project or not. See you in the next videos.